It's October, the best time of year. This time around, I'm doing a one movie a day challenge, which is exactly what it sounds like. I'm watching one movie a day for the entirety of October. And of course, it's all horror. From any point in time, from any branch of horror, I'm going all guts out here. So I'll be giving updates every Thursday, leading all the way up to the 31st. So today is October 3rd. And this week, I started with... I mean, this just makes sense, right? To think all of this could have been avoided if that one dude in the beginning just noticed Michael standing right there. No matter which way you look at it, it's a classic. It's the founding father of slasher films, but it's not the first one. Don't get it twisted. This just became, I think, my favorite slasher villain horror movie. Freddy's whole concept and origin is just debatably much more interesting and way more nuanced than the other slashers. Freddy's personality also manages to be scary and hilarious at the same time. When it comes to 80s horror, this movie just feels right. A bit of a left field, we have a short film. And here I'm going to mention my only caveat. On days where I know for sure I absolutely do not have time to set aside an hour and a half, 2 hours, or on days where I just don't feel very good, I'm going to compromise by watching a short film, which, yes, short films are movies. So, last night I saw a short film called Meat Cleaver. It's directed by Jared Asher Harris, and you can see it on the Crypt TV YouTube channel. I don't want to explain the whole concept because it's a short, you'll get it right away. But the way the concept is revealed is really interesting. This short has really great Beetlejuice energy to it, I think. Horror comedy is really hard to do, but the director Harris and crew, I think all did a fantastic job. Starting off with a short film, The Other Side of the Box, which you can watch on the Alter YouTube channel. A couple is just enjoying their night together when suddenly someone from their past shows up with a present. And that's it. That's all I'm going to say. The best comparison I can give to this is the Weeping Angels Doctor Who episode. This has such a great concept and it's executed so well. The only hiccups I think are in some of the actors' performances. I think they overperform in some areas and underperform in others. In general though, it's a great movie. Definitely worth your time. I saw another short film, The Deader the Better. Two guys work the overnight shift at a graveyard. Why do they have to do this? Because every night, the dead rise from the grave. This is delightfully campy, kind of stupid, but really fun. Obviously made with the intent of putting practical effects into practice, as well as a lot of digital enhancement. And it really goes to show how much independent filmmakers can accomplish with just pure determination. And then on the 6th, I saw, for some fucking reason, Cocaine Werewolf. I just thought this was going to be funny, going off of the posters and some reviews that I read on Letterboxd. The funny, bad energy wore off after the first, 5 minutes. Beyond that, I regret watching it. I don't recommend this. On the 7th, I saw Last Straw. A girl in a small town works the overnight shift at her dad's restaurant. A really simple concept, really simple in execution, but has a great twist in the middle. I hope to see more of the lead actress because she absolutely carried this movie. On the 8th, I saw Poltergeist. I mean, what can I say? It's got that top-notch Spielberg production quality. It's got his subtle hints of humor, delightful 80s VFX and color. It's a haunted house movie, but devoid of cliche. I don't mind saying this probably became one of my favorite Spielberg movies in general. On the 9th, I saw Suspiria. Absolutely wonderful to look at, to the point where it's leaning towards style more than story, which isn't a problem at all. It's exemplary use of color, light, and blocking. However, the awkward transitions in and out of music and the roller coaster of an ending kind of took me out of it. Still, it's a classic, worth seeing just for the visuals alone. Tonight, on the 10th, I saw Little Shop of Horrors. I said horrors, not whores. Horrors. I know there's a Little Shop of Horrors musical. I didn't know the movie itself was going to be a musical, though. Surprisingly, I think it takes on a lot of themes that are timeless, like the pursuit of ambition, greed, American consumerism. The creature effects are awesome, especially towards the end, which I think the ending is kind of overblown. I feel like it could have been 20 seconds shorter. I imagine the theater kids would put this on at a Halloween party. Pretty much got what I expected. Great practical effects, lush 80s color. The Cenobites are awesome. This is a movie Dark Eldar would love, and I kind of do too. It's about a new girl in school who wants to fit in with the popular kids and does very weird things to do so. In general, I like the concept of this, but I think the ending needed something a lot more crazy. That could just come down to personal taste though. I think it's fine, worth seeing. Wow. I'm mad that I'm only seeing this just now. Laika is known for being an artistic powerhouse, and Coraline is exemplary of that. This is a classic for a reason. If you haven't seen it, just see it. Okay, for the most part, I think this movie is pretty tame. There's just one point in the first half where it really escalates to a point where that's about the one moment that I remember from this movie the most. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. It's no wonder this series has become a horror phenomenon in recent years. The idea of a Charlie Chaplin kind of killer clown is funny to think about, but there's a morbid curiosity in thinking about how much worse can he get. I know, I'm curious. A certified horror classic, at least that's what I'm told. For me, personally, I don't get it. As a slow burn horror film, I'd rather watch Alien. This just didn't do it for me. I'm sure there's many things happening in the background and here and there that you should pay attention to. I found the setup to be a slog, and by the end, the best part of the movie I thought was Shelley Duvall. Also, what's the point with the bear? This is delightful campiness through and through. It's multiple little stories told through little vignettes, all taking place on Halloween. All of them kind of involving this one character, Sam. Or I'm assuming he's called Spooky Sam. If Halloween needed a mascot character, I think it should absolutely be Spooky Sam. It feels like a friendlier version of the movie Creepshow with its comic book style transitions. It's so simple, yet so effective. I had a great time. I went in expecting entertaining trash, and for the most part, that's what I got. The title is exactly what you get. I just wish it went harder with the action. Basically, if you want to watch the movie Planet Terror, but you only have 30 minutes to spare, watch Naked Zombie Girl. Just remember to bring your expectations way below what you think they should be. I mostly saw this movie for Cate Blanchett. I didn't know what this was going into it. I read a synopsis afterwards saying that the movie is about a group of government leaders stuck in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. But that's not at all apparent until the last 2 minutes. Even then, barely. I don't recommend this. Watch literally anything else. Go see Terrifier 3 if you want to see a new horror movie. This short is about a girl who wants to see God through a portrait. This short is awesome. I love this concept. Definitely worth seeing. I was pretty hyped up to see this, and it definitely delivered. I see why this is such effective horror and why it's been annexed into not just horror legend, but cinema history. I love how the movie is paced. Everything on display is gorgeous. Yes, even Linda Blair. The story itself is simple, but the execution is exemplary. The zombie movie that started it all. I was expecting something pretty campy, but I was surprised to find something surprisingly multi-layered. Don't pass this up just because it's from the 50s. There's a reason why this heralded in an entirely new subgenre of horror. The zombie. Even now, I'd say there's still some pretty legitimately unnerving kills. Everything about this is legend. I wasn't in the right headspace going into this movie. I understand why it's a cult classic and why it has the following it does. As is though, I don't think it's for me. Dr. Frankenfurter is a really cool dude though. I love the post-World War II Americana. It's one of my favorite eras in American history. Couple that with Steve McQueen, a great premise and an even greater monster, and you have a certified horror classic. This short is about two killers that happen to show up at the same campsite on the same night. I wasn't expecting to get a great life message from this movie. Short film directors once again showing that they can do horror comedy just right. Love the writing, love the performances. This short, I highly recommend. I do like that this time the teenagers and kids are actually being played by teenagers and kids and not people in their 20s. I was really with it up until the ending. It takes itself so seriously, but the girl's face at the end just makes me laugh. Apart from that, it is pretty cool. The long-awaited adaptation of Junji Ito's manga, Uzumaki. It's no wonder this took so long to come out. The animation is incredible. It's lifted straight out of the manga, and in terms of content, it's a near one-to-one adaptation of the story. Something about seeing Junji Ito's work in movement does feel strange, though. I feel like Ito's horror in particular just fits best in manga. This isn't a fault to the creators. I think this is just a strength of Ito's artwork that is so unique to being stuck to paper. I highly recommend seeing Uzumaki though for the art style alone. I would consider this to be an apex of horror comedy. Leaning more towards horror. Definitely in the top 2, top 3 best werewolf movies ever made. Banger soundtrack too. This movie is so goddamn meta, it grabs you by the face and winks at you. It's funny, it's scary, and personally, I would crown Wes Craven as the ultimate master of horror. This short reinforces the idea to me that I think we need to see more sci-fi horror. This short takes place in a world where almost everything is dead and there are just massive monsters roaming the mist. The way this is shot looks like a Denis Villeneuve movie, which is the highest compliment I can give it. It's so much subtle, implied storytelling, everything that a short film relies on. I highly recommend this. A bunch of teenagers in a cabin and some demons start attacking them. It's classic horror 101. It is funny to think how the Evil Dead series started off so serious and then eventually becomes Army of Darkness. I do love Sam Raimi's approach to demonology with the Evil Dead series, giving them a sort of raunchy humor. I find it hilarious and equally scary. And last but not least, I wrap up this month with a horror classic, Dracula. I get why this is a classic and why it was so polarizing for the time, but holy shit, this movie is quiet. The one bit of music in the entire film is the opening credits. It's great, I love Swan Lake, but I wasn't expecting dead silence for the rest of it. This is relatively when sound films were still in their infancy, so I can't really fault them for that. One thing that I don't hear enough about this movie is the costume design. Was everyone in the 30s just dripped out of their minds? Also, little known fact about me, this era of Universal horror films is some of my favorite cinematography ever. The black and white imagery, the blocking, the very specific shaping of light and shadow, really leaning towards German expressionism. It's one of my favorite styles, and one that I'm subconsciously thinking of whenever I'm shooting. It's called the golden age of horror for a reason. Everything about this is legend. And that's it. I did it. I watched one horror movie a day, every day in the month of October. How do I feel? Like I watched 31 more movies. I did this because I can. I don't know what to tell you. Be safe out there tonight. Happy Halloween, and stay spooky.